break different patterns and learn how to be a more forgiving and loving human being, and learning how to be more responsible with my actions on the planet. And I feel that the culture, the Huni Kuin in particular, because I can't speak for all ethnic tribes, but the Huni Kuin tribe, they have such a simple way of living that when we're in contact with that, we realize how much our minds get in the way and how much they complicate on a daily basis the choices that we make, and how much suffering we receive from that as well. And so I feel very privileged and honored to bring him here and to be here with all of you and have this opportunity. Really quickly, the Huni Kuin, we're going to show a map, but they're located in ERIE states, in close to the border with the Amazon state of Brazil, and they're also at the frontier with Peru. His village is really far out. It's about 5 days travel from where I live, which is São Paulo, or 3 to 5 days, depending. Their population is they have population in the Peruvian side and in the ERIE, the Brazilian side. They're the largest population ethnic group in the ERIE states. 15,000, né?
Kaxinawa?
É isso, né? 15,000, Kaxinawa. They call themselves Huni Kuin, which means the true people, but we Brazilians tend to call them Kaxinawa. It's not the really appropriate name. It means bat eater, and it was given by a misunderstanding in the past by a white person who was trying to understand what they called themselves. But everything's so fine with the Huni Kuin culture that they've embraced that as well too. So they call themselves Kaxinawa and Huni Kuin, and it doesn't really matter. So sometimes we're more worried with being politically correct, and they sort of have this possibility of fluctuating with the things and the way reality presents to them in a much easier and laid-back manner than we do. And the Huni Kuin, they come from a historical struggle, very complicated, from the beginning of the 20s to about the 70s with the rubber tapping industry. Rubber tapping industry, and also the caucheros, which is a different kind of rubber, so from Peru, and so they've been pretty much massacred. And then from the 70s, with pressure in the government, and we can talk about that, his grandfather and his father went through a period of struggles to be able to start forming the indigenous territories there as well, indigenous reserves. So for a period of time, they lost a part of their traditions and their culture, in particular the ritual use with ayahuasca as well. And they were forced into, certain groups of Kaxinawa, Huni Kuin, were forced into slave labor in the rubber tapping areas. So it's really interesting to see that they're undergoing a very strong revival of their tradition and their culture right now in the past 20, 30 years. So I'm going to pass to Jawa Bunny. I can't say bunny. We call him Bunny, but a friend of mine said it sounds like bunny rabbits, and so I have to remember it's Jawa Bunny. E fala sobre o seu trabalho, experiência, e depois eu vou começar a mostrar.
Sobre o meu trabalho?
Sobre você, sobre o seu trabalho, sua presença, sobre a sua família, cultura. Ele quando mostrar, você mostra.
Pode ser? Eu sou Jawa Bunny, me chamo Bunny.
My name is Jawa Bunny, call myself Bunny. Bunny.
Sou de uma tradição indígena do Brasil, venho da Amazônia.
I'm from Amazonian lineage from Brazil.
Eu nasci numa tradição, uma cultura que sou da etnia Huni Kuin, entre parentes Kaxinawa.
I was born into this tradition that the Huni Kuin, and we are also called the Kaxinawa.
Da qual faço parte desse comunidade ou desse povo Huni Kuin.
I belong to this community or this people, the Huni Kuin.
Nasci no cantinho do Brasil, que é esse lugar que depois vou mostrar no...
Eu já vou passar. Como é que faz aqui?
Vai nos caixinhos. I was born in this corner of Brazil.
Aqui não dá para ver, mas a minha comunidade a gente não trouxe aqui, mas é mais ou menos a área indígena aqui do Rio de Janeiro. Aqui é o estado do Acre, mais ou menos.
State of Acre?
Os Kaxinawa são maiores população indígena.
Você consegue ver?
Sim. Só para vocês se localizarem.
Only to help you guys locate yourselves.
Então, mais ou menos entre Bolívia, Peru e Brasil.
They are pretty much there.
Por aqui,
Between Bolivia, Peru, and Brazil. You guys feel free to sit here if you want. Anyone who wants to sit here in the circle.
Bom, eu tenho várias coisas para falar, mas eu queria falar um pouco mais de planta de poderes que a gente tem em minha cultura, em minha tradição.
I have a lot to say, but I would like to focus on the plant medicine, the plants of power, or force, like we call in Portuguese, that we have in the jungle.
Esses plantas de poderes faz parte da minha tradição, minha cultura, o meu costume que a gente praticar são coisas que faz parte da minha tradição.
This is part of my tradition, the use of these sacred plants.
Não é uma coisa que vem de fora, uma coisa que vem de dentro da minha cultura.
It's not something that we absorb from someone else. It's part of our culture.
Nós, Kaxinawa, nós Huni Kuin, temos uma que nós chamamos de Huni, que é meu avô, que é pai do meu pai, costumava chamar de televisão do índio, que são várias imagens que levam para outra dimensão.
We have what my grandfather used to call the native people's television, which is a Juni, the visions that take us to another place.
Which is the ayahuasca.
Então, os Kaxinawa têm conhecimento com a planta que é a ayahuasca. Em minha tradição, chamamos de Huni. Huni são a medicina como muitos lugares chamam ayahuasca.
Also, we have the knowledge of using ayahuasca, and in our tradition we call it Huni.
Então, desde que meu povo veio por essa vida, para esse mundo, tem contato com a medicina desde nossos lá atrás, já praticavam.
Ever since my people exist and came into this world, we have contact with this medicine that comes from our ancestors.
O conhecimento vem na criação, tem muitas histórias, mas vou fazer um pequeno resumo como que nós recebemos a medicina como dos mundos dos encantados, que não é esse encantado que a gente vive, que é uma outra dimensão dos espíritos.
There are many stories about the origins of this medicine, but I'm going to try to tell you a brief summary or a brief story about how we got in touch with this medicine that comes from an enchanted place, which is another dimension, the place of the spirits.
Há muito tempo, na criação de todo o sistema das plantas, e quando estava se transformando, tinha uma pessoa que chamava Zuagusan. Zuagusan era pajé, xamã da mata. E esse homem tinha uma responsabilidade e tinha família também. Era parte de família.
In earlier times, in the time of creation of the plants, there was this man called Jogusan, and he dwelt there and he had a family.
Na criação da história, esse homem foi lugar que era para se encontrar, onde tinha vários frutas de genipapo, que nesse lugar tinha um grande lago encantado, onde os encantados moravam, que eram os espíritos da criação.
He went to this place where there was a lake, and genipapo is a Brazilian fruit, that grows in this place, and this lake was also a sacred place where the enchanted people met.
Foi lá que o Duabucim se encontrou com um encantado, e ele se encantou com uma encantadora que é a Jiboia, que é hoje a nosso maestra espiritual dentro da medicina, que é a ayahuasca.
Ele está fazendo um bom resumo, eu acho. Nossa, parece maravilhoso. So, não, fala.
So at this place, Jabu-san...
Fala.
Okay.
Eu vou traduzir então.
Okay.
So at this place where there is this enchanted lake, Jabu-san saw an animal, which I don't know the name translated in English. It's a
Portuguese
weird.
It's called anta.
It's a weird animal. Somebody said it. Yeah. A tapir? Yeah.
Right.
Tapir.
Yes.
Thank you. So he saw, he went to hunt the tapir, and the tapir started throwing this fruit into the lake. And he saw this snake coming up from the lake and turning into a beautiful woman. And then the tapir and the beautiful woman made love. And he was so enchanted that he decided to follow up in the same process and see if he was lucky as well. And so he threw the genipapo and waited for this snake to show up.
Jiboia.
Which is the jiboia.
That's the sacred snake of
The
Huni Kuin people.
Anaconda serpent, maybe? I don't know. Is that jiboia? No. Very big snake. Anaconda.
Bom, esse encanto do Duabucim com a jiboia fez que ele se encantasse com o encantado, com o espírito, que é outro mundo, dimensão, que não está nesse mundo, está em outra dimensão de criação. E ele se propôs que ele estava se apaixonado por uma encantada, que era a jiboia, que é a anaconda. E ele se encantou, e aí, a partir desse encontro, entre espírito humano e espírito encantado, fez ele se transformar no encantado para viver no mundo das dimensões do encantado. E é assim que ele aprendeu a adquirir conhecimento no mundo dos encantados.
So he was so hypnotized by the beauty of this woman that he decided that he wanted to live with her in the world of the enchanted. And the world of the enchanted is under this big lake. It's underwater.
It's underwater. Yeah.
And so he decided to go with her to marry her, and he told her he didn't have a family. And she was single as well, and she needed a husband, so he decided, and he goes into the underworld, and when he does that, he turns himself also to an enchanted being, which in that case was a snake.
And a parenthesis for all the Jungian psychologists here, I think the analogy of the underwater world and the subconscious is pretty clear.
And the snake.
And the snake, yeah.
Então, antes disso, só esses encantados que preparavam essa bebida que é a ayahuasca, uni, e só eles que tinham conhecimento. Então, o Duabucim passou a conviver com os encantados e passou também a aprender os ensinamentos, a medicina que os encantados praticavam ali no mundo dos encantos. Então, o conhecimento estava dentro entre espíritos que não são humanos, são espíritos animal e que estão lá em algum lugar do universo que faz parte desse espírito cósmico.
So while he lived, throughout the time that he lived underwater, he learned how to prepare the ayahuasca brew with these enchanted beings, the snakes. And he learned how to take the ayahuasca brew, and he also learned the songs that go with the ayahuasca, the traditional songs. And he took this knowledge to the earth world, back to his village. Pode falar,
Então, aí passou a viver, ele tomou a medicina lá com a jiboia, que são anacuna, e ele passou a ter visão que os encantados estavam comendo ele. Então, a partir desse momento, ele desencantou do mundo encantado, veio para o mundo dele, que era vida real que ele tinha deixado aqui na Terra.
So the first time he took ayahuasca with the enchanted beings, he had a vision that he was being swallowed by a big snake, and he got very frightened, and so he decided to run away from it. At that moment when that happened,
he realized he felt that he was being swallowed by the enchanted people. He was being swallowed into the enchanted people forever. So he decided to escape from that and go back to Earth. And then of course, we're trying to summarize it here, but it's a
very long
story. And it goes through many, it's like it's an amazing myth, and it goes through many ups and downs, and he has to find ways to escape, and he catch the ride in a fish. So there's a lot of things happening.
E aí, então, os encantados, que eles protegiam conhecimento para ninguém que pudesse levar fora do mundo do encantado. Então, ele desonrou a família dos encantados, desrespeitou a família dos encantados, o encantado ficaram bravo. Por isso que ele tinha que sair desse reino dos encantados para vir para o outro mundo, que era o mundo dele, para poder trazer esse conhecimento que ele tinha convivido por longo tempo.
So he disrespected by his behavior in the ritual. So he disrespected the enchanted beings, and he decided.
Who were the keepers of the sacred knowledge? He dishonored these people, and he had to run. He had to escape back to his world, to our world. I mean, to our dimension. Yeah, to the earthly realm, and he brought this knowledge with him forever.
A partir do momento que ele fugiu dos encantados, peixe que morava desse lugar encantado também ajudou a fugir desse encantado que ele estava todo complicado, né? E esse peixe ajudou a ir para o mundo que ele fazia parte.
From this moment where he had to escape, he found this fish that helped him run away from this place and go back to surface into his own world.
Então, a partir do momento, os encantados que estavam lá no encantado vieram à procura dele, fizeram chover para todo lado para poder achar o Dobu-san. Mas o Dobu-san já estava com a família muito longe de ser pego de risco de perigo. Estava acolhido, o povo dele acolheu, e longo tempo, por 3 meses depois, a jiboia pararam de procurar, ele passou a ser cuidado como um chefe da tribo, né? Como todo mundo pudesse alimentar ele, pudesse plantar para ele, ele não podia fazer mais nada, ele podia receber o tratamento que ele podia receber, o melhor tratamento.
So after he escaped, the enchanted people, they chased him, and they came after him, and they caused a great storm, but he was already safe in his village, and he met again with his family, his wife and children. And after 3 months, the snakes stopped hunting him, and then he became not a leader, a sacred person. A chief. Yeah, he became a chief in his tribe, and he wouldn't do any work. People would just do everything for him.
E assim ele não conseguiu ficar satisfeito, porque quando você recebe tudo que os outros podem te dar, você vai ficando interditado, vai ficando deprimido, porque você não pode sair, você não pode ver a observação da natureza, e ele foi ficando deprimido. Só que não tinha ninguém, só tinha as mulheres na aldeia e os homens estavam todos trabalhando, passando. E ele resolveu voltar para esse lugar que ele tinha encontrado encantado. Esse lugar, quando ele voltou...
So just so we keep track of what is being said. So he started becoming depressed because he wouldn't do anything and everything was done for him. And he was kind of becoming lazy and he didn't like that state, not doing anything and being treated so well. And all the men would go out to do to hunt or do their work, and then the women were there busy as well. And then he decided that he would go back to that enchanted place, go back to the lake.
Daí ele teve família com encantado, tem 3 filhos. Pequeno, pequenininho, grandão e grandão. E a mãe que era enorme.
So we skipped that part, but when he was living in the enchanted world, he made family there, and he had 3 kids. A little kid, another one.
The snake, the medium, the big one, and the mom.
Yeah, and mom was like this huge snake from the enchanted world.
Então, ele ficou parado, o pequeno filho, o menorzinho, encontrou o pai que estava à procura dele. Veio, ele mordeu o dedinho do pé, e assim ele foi chamando o irmão mais do meio, o outro irmão veio, mordeu no dedo do pé, o outro irmão veio, mordeu no dedão do pé, e chamaram a mãe.
So his younger, the youngest child found him, the little snake, and it beat in his little, how do you call it, the little finger? Yeah. And then the other one, the second one, bit the other toe, and then finally the oldest bit his toe, and they were trying to push him back into the lake.
And they called their mom.
And they called their mom.
E assim a mãe, os filhos fugiram, a mãe começou a engolir ele, mas ele não podia fazer nada, porque ele estava paralisado no mundo já de outra dimensão. E assim a jiboia anaconda engoliu até a ponta do umbigo. A hora que ele acordou, começou a pedir socorro para gritar no meio da floresta, no meio da mata alta, e o povo que já estava à procura dele para todo lado, por onde ele tinha fugido.
So he didn't fight back because he was already, he had crossed boundaries and he was inside the enchanted world, while the mother started swallowing him. And the mother ate him until she reached his belly button, and then he woke up and he started screaming and calling for his people, and then they started looking for him.
Assim eles conseguiram matar a anaconda, tirar ele, e ele falou que tinha uma mensagem muito importante para o povo dele, que não tinha muito mais tempo, mas ele queria passar a noite contando uma história e também transmitindo conhecimento dos encantados. E antes de morrer, ele conseguiu transmitir todo o conhecimento que ele tinha aprendido dos encantados, que quando ele morresse, ele era para enterrar no lugar que ele tinha se encantado com a jiboia, e junto com a jiboia ele podia ser enterrado. Tempo depois, eles podiam voltar nesse lugar que ele tinha morrido, e daí eles iam achar uma planta, que era esse planta hoje, que é o Huni.
Okay, so finally his people found him, and they managed to kill the big anaconda, the mother, and they saved him, but he was already dying, and he said that he received a message and he had something to say before he died. His people took him back to his village, and he said that he wanted to tell a story all night long, and he would give them the knowledge that he has acquired while living in the enchanted world. And that after he died, he wanted his people to go and bury him together with the snake in a special place near the enchanted lake. And from that, in that place, there would grow this special plant that we know today as the ayahuasca vine.
E assim hoje praticamos com nossa própria tradição. Eles deixam orientação que hoje nosso espírito do Abu-San virou em espírito do cipó, que é a planta ayahuasca, que nós hoje praticamos na nossa tradição, em vários momentos importantes na nossa tradição, que a gente pratica com o nosso povo. E nós recebemos esse espírito cósmico do Abu-San, e através da jiboia ainda procuram ele na medicina, eles vêm procurar através e a do Abu-San vem limpando, né? Isso é uma medicina de poder também, de cura também.
So that's the origin of the divine. That is the Huni, the ayahuasca as we know it, and through his instructions, these people learned the secrets of the ayahuasca, and how to use it, how to cook it, and how to drink it, and they have been practicing it in very important moments in their lives, in their social life, and every time they drink it, there is the snake coming back to chase Jobu-san, his cosmic messenger for the tribe, and so the snake comes cleansing, really. That's what she does. She comes opening space and cleansing everything.
Só tinha uma coisa mais para complementar isso na tradição Huni Kuin, porque a ayahuasca em várias tradições, em várias culturas, desde Equador, Peru, Amazônia, vários povos originários com várias histórias diferentes, mas essa criação é a criação como os Huni Kuin receberam a medicina.
So he wants to make clear that there are many different traditions in the forest, and each one of them have their own creation myth, and this is the specific creation myth of the Huni Kuin people. That's how they learned how to use this medicine and how it came to them.
It's really interesting that the Huni Kuin, like the snake, is so central to their lives, to everything. You'll find the snake being their central teacher for the ayahuasca, for chanting, for the kene designs, which we're going to talk later on, which are like the magical archetypal designs that they use for energy, bringing certain kinds of energies and protection. And for them, the ayahuasca is sort of the space where you metamorphosize? Please feel free to correct it. I invent a word. So it's a place of metamorphosis, and it's where you can constantly practice being transformed or transform into something else. Put the clothes of a particular animal or a particular forest being. And this idea and this experience of transformation, of being constantly in a flux of changing and being reborn in the process of transformation is very, very present in the Huni Kuin culture. And I think I feel like it's also a reason why the snake is so present, because the snake changes skin all the time, so it's sort of like a very important teacher that shows them and reminds them of this cyclical process of dying and being reborn and dying and being reborn. Whoever had the experience of taking or of participating in a ceremony with ayahuasca knows that at many times there is a sensation, physical, mental, emotional, of different parts that are very close to the feeling of dying. And I guess it could really be described as some part of you that doesn't belong anymore, that's not part of a healthy pattern, just needs to die so that something new can flourish within that empty space. And that there's this very intimate connection that they have with
the snake shedding the skin.
Yes, with the snake shedding the skin and being reborn, and the enchanted people having this power of always transforming, and they're always taking ayahuasca to exercise that as well. And it's really curious, when we do our ceremonies at our institutes, a lot of times we don't tell them that the snake is their teacher, the white anaconda, and that it's present, and people will come after the ceremony and say, I saw a snake coming in the middle of the ceremony, and then we let them know it's surprising every time. Pode continuar, se você falando da ayahuasca ou da prática ou depois
ok.
Posso pular uma ordem? Você fala da ordem?
Você pediu para falar?
Não, tá.
Bom, nós temos uma cultura, o Huni Kuin tem uma cultura muito cultura viva, né? Comparado com outras tradições, só não passa lá onde
você percebe isso?
Não, essa aí, só mostra essa aí.
Ah.
A nossa estrutura, antigamente, né?
We have a very alive, living culture compared to many others.
Nossa casa era aquela casa que nós chamamos de Kaxinawa em Huni Kuin. Kaxinawa é um formato...
Normal, não é?
Isso. Cada família morava ali em várias casas.
We had our homes were in the Kaxinawa shape. It was like an oval shape.
It's not the ones in the picture here. This was before. Isso aqui é de 1980.
Isso aqui é muito recente.
Their homes, their real homes, which were the Kaxinawa, which were these really big, thatched. Não sei como é que chama uma palha que eles usam em inglês. With wood, and they would have entire families living there together. It was very communal in that sense. And these are the structures since the 1980s.
Nós construímos esse estilo de espaço para a apresentação de... Pode botar aqui. Só explicar aqui. Esses são como fosse um templo, não um templo, mas um terreiro. Um terreiro Huni Kuin, onde a gente pode puxar... dança, onde a gente pode praticar as danças tradicionais, pintura, encontro com outros povos, não só Huni Kuin. Esse lugar apropriado para o nosso encontros com outras comunidades, ou com outros pajeres, ou com outras lideranças. E esse lugar que a gente faz, que é o terreiro, né? Que é onde faz o centro, o centro de encontros das festas dos rituais.
So this is their ceremonial space, and it's very interesting because it's sort of their temple, but instead of being like a closed space, it's just like it only has like this kind of ring format, and it's open to the cosmos and to the forest. So the temple really is the forest, and he called it not a temple but a terreiro. Terreiro would be something like a terrain. And it has an analogy with other Brazilian syncretic religions, the Afro-Syncretic, that also they use the same image of the terreiro, which is an open space and it's connected to the earth.
E acreditamos que todos os nossos parentes ancestrais que já fizeram passagem para o outro mundo estão sempre presentes nesse lugar, nesse centro, quando a gente faz alguma coisa como rito de passagem ou batismo, eles estão sempre presentes nesses encontros tradicionais. Eles que continuam orientando, que são aqueles que buscam conhecimento de um pajé. Pajé, para se tornar um pajé, você precisa ter vários passos na vida de medicina.
Okay. So they receive their ancestors in this space, and they are aware of their presence every time they do their ceremonies and their rituals, the rites of passage, the baptism, the way that they do it. It's always honoring their ancestors and knowing that they are the ones who are bringing this knowledge and the wisdom of. This is a very beautiful picture. So every time they do the ceremonies, they are honoring their ancestors.
Bom, aqui são algumas imagens de representação de danças. Não são com medicina, isso é uma dança que são para celebração das plantas para que nunca falte comida para muitas gerações, e a gente representa essa representação de dança que chama Kaxinawa.
So this is Kaxinawa dance. It's not done by drinking ayahuasca. It's a dance that is done during the day for honoring the plants and for summoning that the food is always going to be abundant for their people. And for the generations to come, which is also very, very important. They're concerned not only for their ancestors, but for the future generations.
Esses são a dança da jiboia, uma representação que que representa, né, que a jiboia são uma cobra, uma anaconda que dança num formato da cobra mesmo. Então, na tradição Huni Kuin existe várias apresentações de dança, de animais que representam.
So this is the jiboia dance, the anaconda dance, and the way they do it is by snaking around just like a snake does. And they have many kinds of dances that mimic the movements of the animals. There's turtle dance, and there's many other dances based on the animal.
As pessoas são intercâmbio de outros povos indígenas.
This is a festival, and these are native peoples from other traditions.
Cultural native exchange.
Yeah.
Cultural exchange.
A cultural exchange.
That's the black that you're seeing there, the dark blue, is made from the genipapo, which is that fruit, the Brazilian fruit that's in the ayahuasca creation. And the red is the ERIE, which is from another plant, which is the pink that he's using right now. That's also for protection. And
essa árvore é a árvore chamada Samaúma. Mas antes de tudo isso, né, o Huni Kuin tem vários também árvores sagradas, como para nós são espíritos, onde o espírito tem comunicação, ou alguma coisa que os pajés buscam fazer um retiro para se graduar, né, para se isolar da sua família, porque para ser um pajé você precisa ter um ano de faculdade de isolamento sozinho, sem poder falar com ninguém.
So this is the Samaúma tree. It's a huge tree. We can't see it by looking at the picture, but if there was a person there, it would be like very, very little in comparison to the tree. And it's a sacred tree for them. They have different kinds of sacred trees, and these are places where the spirits gather together, and they provide information. And in order to become a shaman, if you want to become a shaman, you have to graduate in shaman school by living 1 year in total isolation from your family and from the whole community, and just by being communing with the spirits, by living near the sacred trees.
Se você passar um ano e sobreviver e você voltar para a sua comunidade, você pode ser chamado ou considerado pajé da comunidade. E se você não voltar, você vai ser um discípulo de algum pajé de algum lugar dos espíritos encantados.
So if you survive and you return after this year of isolation, you are considered then a shaman. And if you do not return, so then you become a disciple of the enchanted people in the enchanted world.
Então a ayahuasca é muito usado para os pajés, né? Não é para qualquer um assim. Para nós a ayahuasca é sagrado, né? Qualquer planta ou a gente bebe para, sei lá, para qualquer coisa. A ayahuasca tem um ponto principal que é o ponto de objetividade de adquirir conhecimento ou te mostrar o caminho que nem nessa vida a gente percebe essa planta.
Ayahuasca is not necessarily for everyone, so it's a sacred medicine, and they treat it as such, and it's used for the ones who want to become shamans. And I lost track of all of it. Okay.
Você começou a falar. He said that you take the ayahuasca as a sacred medicine. Not everybody takes it, but a lot of people from the tribe do. But it's a necessary medicine for the shamans to take, which we call them pajé in Portuguese. And nossa língua como é que é? Pachuí. E Mucuya, né? Mukaya were the ancient shamans that they don't believe exist anymore, and they work with a particular plant called muka, which is a very, very bitter and very sacred plant that they use in their diets. But they take the ayahuasca to receive the teachings,
teachings that otherwise they wouldn't be able to receive.
É isso. E não só quando você está num retiro espiritual, você só pratica ayahuasca. Você tem que conhecer, comunicar com as plantas, com animais, com árvores. São espíritos que são Yushin, que daqui a pouco a gente vai falar um pouco do Yushin. Né? O que é Yushin? Yushin são espíritos das plantas, ou espíritos humanos, o espírito da terra. E tem outro que é o Yushibu. Yushibu são os encantados. E outro que é Kushipa, que é o deus